Einen wunderschönen guten Abend. Es ist Dienstag, 19 Uhr. Wieder mal Zeit für die CRM-Conversations. Heute haben wir zu Gast Lars Brodersen vom CRM-Verlag, der auch CRM-Experte ist und sich neben optisch in meinen Kacheln, die ich hier sehe, unterhalb von Marshall Lager aus Chicago und Thomas Wieberneit aus Seattle befindet. Lars, du bist im schönen Hamburg. Genau. Gib uns doch mal 2, 3 Takte zu deiner Person zum Besten und wie du mit dem Thema CRM so deine Berührungspunkte hast.
Ja, ich bin so ein bisschen immer zwiegespalten unterwegs. Ich bin auf der einen Seite als CRM-Plattform-Owner für die Firma Tesa zuständig oder bei der Firma Tesa zuständig. Tesa-Film kennt, glaube ich, jeder, 98% in Deutschland kennen, glaube ich, Tesa. Dort bin ich in der IT ansässig, wie gesagt, Plattform-Owner für CRM. Und parallel, damit mir nicht langweilig wird, habe ich noch mein eigenes Unternehmen gegründet, einen Verlag. Ich bin also auch Buchautor, bin viel auf Konferenzen unterwegs. Genau, und das sind so die beiden Herzen, die in meiner Brust schlagen. Aber alles dreht sich um CRM und das nun seit 15 Jahren. Bevor ich bei Tesa war ich 8, 9, 10 Jahre Consultant für CRM. Bei mir geht es also immer nur um das eine Thema quasi.
Cool. Now, Marshall, some famous words about you, please.
I don't know what you said. Well, I'm a CRM analyst and consultant and sometimes journalist based in the United States, currently in Chicago, formerly of New York City. I've written for CRM Magazine. I've worked for Informa and for G2. I'm currently independent, as I have been before, and I love the subject matter, especially customer experience, and I'm very happy to be here.
Our pleasure.
And I say "and" for far too much. I don't know where to put the periods in the sentences.
Tom.
Oh, what shall I say?
Yeah, Uncle.
CRM analysts, consultants for ages, since about 1995, since basically before I can think, and since before the term CRM was coined. Well, long time SAP history worldwide, looking into implementation, strategy, roadmaps, and what's going on into the market. And that's how I hit Marshall. Or, well, how we met. Basically, I didn't hit him.
We may have another decade.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as you will realize that we will continue our talk in English language, which will be fascinating to 3 Germans speaking English and 1 American helping us to survive, especially when it gets to writing. Yeah, he is our good angel and guardian when it comes to that we write something together or do something together, that it is in a proper way expressed. Because it's sometimes, for me, honestly speaking, tricky to do it in proper English. Talking, well, that works, but writing, I'm a CRM dinosaur. I'm in that market for ages and had the pleasure to run in several times in Tom during the one or the other occasion. And simply we found not only that the time with the COVID pandemia is boring, but also that it opens windows of opportunities. And windows of opportunities mean that we created the CRM Conversations inspired by some thoughts from Tom, And this is working now for our conversation number 22. Now, we talk about CRM, we talk about customer experiences, and this was the reason why we spontaneously invited Lars, as he had 1 week, which was very much like one of these days from the Pink Floyd sound, where I would say this was a disastrous week. And now we would like the opportunity, after we show you a little video, he will express his feelings and why he did that little video. Thomas, would you like to share with us, please, the video?
On it.
And here we go, folks.
Show me.
Oh, okay, nothing more to say. Pretty clear words that Lars brought forward there. The question remains, where does this come from? Apart from they are right?
Yeah, I had so many bad experiences, and they all came up in 1 week. And I don't know. In the beginning, you get angry about some experiences because I mean we are all professionals, right? We all know how to treat customers well, stuff like this. And in the beginning, I got angry, and after a while, I started laughing because it was so funny. I had things I can't even remember what it was, but so many terrible things. I wrote it on LinkedIn. For example, just one example that pops up in my head. I was here at the corner. I was in a coffee shop and ordered a latte macchiato, and the milk was, what is the term? Moldy? Sour. And the latte macchiato there is usually not hot. It's, if I get lucky, it's warm. So I took a deep shot. I don't know, a tiefen Schluck.
Mm-hmm.
And I just asked her, what's up with this? I tried to be polite, and she just answered me, I don't care. I'm away from here in 1 week. So when I had experiences like this, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 experiences. And I thought after the week, I thought by myself, okay, it's not the time where a company can behave like this or where employees can behave like this. I'm pretty sure they should not have behaved like this 10 or 20 years ago, but also us, we are all customers. We are more better informed like ever before. We are more confident as customers. We have a choice as never before. So I think I just thought it's time to make some kind of declaration to give customers a voice. And so I thought, okay, don't be angry, be creative, and just took some pictures of very confident customers and just wrote down. I got inspired by another campaign, and I just wrote down what I thought, and this was the result.
Why do you think it is that companies still are looking so much inside out and not at their customers, more at themselves?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, there could be several reasons. I mean, we all know CRM and customer experience is a very complex topic. But this could never be an excuse. My point, I think there are so many points that there is no this one point. I mean, we all, if you would ask them, they definitely know how to do better. So I can tell why they are behaving like this. I don't know. Even today, I mean, we are all persons, right? Even today, and I had the same experience. There was a guy from the logistics company ringing at my door, I don't know, 30 times, 35 times, and I always opened. And afterwards, he was standing in front of my door. I opened the door, and true story, he yelled at me. He yelled at me why I didn't open the door earlier and why I didn't come down and stuff like this. And I don't want to mention the company, I don't know. But it showed me, if I would not have written this customer manifesto earlier, I would have definitely done it today after this experience. And sometimes I must admit, I mean, I have a company of my own. You all know how it is. I think we can give our best. We can do our best. But in the end, we have all the employees are just persons, and maybe every has a bad day sometimes. And maybe in this week, I had a couple of bad days from individual persons. I don't know. This would be an excuse I accept, at least.
What do you think could change, or how could that be changed?
Good question. If we get, if they hire us, if they ask us how to do it, probably. No, maybe not with the customer manifesto. I think this is one thing, and maybe it would be helpful if every company has this as a poster in their office, and thinking about it every day. I think what could be is that we maybe have too many options, because when I think we have CRM, we have customer experience, we have customer engagement, we have social CRM, we have customer first, and maybe for some companies it's too much. Maybe they are a little bit lost in the options they have. I don't know. The variety is big, right? We have so many options to help those companies, and they have so many options, and there are so many methods. We have so many solutions they could use. Maybe they are sometimes lost in other issues they have, and lost their focus.
Now you mentioned you pressed a button for me.
Which one?
Social CRM. Is this still a thing? I mean, social CRM is kind of 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The social CRM, the accidental social CRM community, I think that was even the O's of this decade.
Yeah, I mentioned this because some companies still use it. And for example, I'm connected to the Social CRM Research Center in Leipzig in Germany. Mm-hmm. And they're doing a pretty good job. But I totally agree on one point. Not many companies are using it. And I think it's there are definitely more companies using using customer experience, definitely CRM. So it always, I don't know how it is in how to say it in English. In German, we would say stiefmütterlich behandelt. And I think there are a lot of things to consider. And what I often heard is social CRM does not help as much as it should be. So, but at least it's maybe one solution out of, I don't know, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10.
But maybe, do you think maybe having one solution out of 7, 8, 9, or 10 is part of the problem? If a business has so many different ways of gathering customer data, they're spending too much time looking at the numbers and maybe not enough time looking at the people they're getting the numbers from. They forget that those numbers come from human beings who have feelings.
Yeah, this is often a good point for social CRM. They very much are pretty much looking at the data coming out of it and forget to interact with that they are interacting with people. I totally agree, but I think this is a problem in general, right? The companies I see having a lot of customer data, they very often forget that they interact with customers. They are focusing on the analytics only, at least in my experience. And maybe also because out of the complexity, I mean, let's imagine how many data, for example, Amazon has, at least from my pro account. They have so many data, but I think it's very hard to strip it down to a profile and to explain the customer Lars Brodersen very well, because you can get lost in all those data.
And when it's data that ends in a sale, as it would be, when you were giving your example about the macchiato coffee, that's going to throw it off. It doesn't matter how that experience was. They got your money. So to them, that's a successful sale. That's a positive experience. They're not collecting the information about how rude the barista was. They're not collecting the information about the sour milk. They just know that you came in, you're a loyal customer, and you continue to be a loyal customer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And I'm very much in that attitude. What I learned from Marshall is called the mom and pop shop. What we had with Tante Emma. At these times, customer management and customer experience management were already invented, even though they had not that fancy name. And we were treated as individuals in a mostly smarter way. And this is something which is, for me, very disturbing, that with the e-commerce and that with some other aspects, we do not have the same experience any longer as we had it ages ago, when we had individual, let's say, service points, touch points, where we were recognized entering the shop as we were regular customers. Yeah. And I very much in these pandemic COVID times do expect that people show more empathy, sympathy, and value, that we take the extra mile to go into their shop and not by remote, and help them to survive. Buy local, buy around the corner, show commitment that we are dropping by and that we get them the business and help them to survive. And yes, I do expect some friendly smile for that as well. Yeah, it's my expectation, honestly, because I can easily shop a lot of stuff with several clicks and minutes with Amazon, and I then will have a friendly postman because mine is properly educated, a female and a male, which we are on friendly terms, greet each other, have a little chit chat, and take over the fence the packages and the goodies. Yeah? This is one experience. The other experience one will have or could have is that organizations in these days very much use new media for communication, not only simply the telephone, but mails in high volume, and conferencing systems like we do this StreamYard here. And I see that people are not yet really feeling comfortable like it might have been if digital transformation has taken a more faster path. Yeah? And knowing that, Lars, you are also in the active role in your company, not in the CRM editing house, but where you work on normal work days in TESA, which is, to give Marshall a hint, if you have this see-through magic tape, from Scotch-Bridge, that is more or less the universal weapon we have here in Germany from TESA. This is fixing all the troublemakers and getting the right things together again to link, at least for one of the most decent repairs. And it is a helper, especially if you do it yourself. And it's not only the see-through magic tape, but it is a lot of material I use, for instance, when I'm painting walls and doing a lot of other stuff. And for instance, which I had always in convenient way to fix some broken elements on my cars. And I had a lot of old cars with broken elements, trust me. So what do you expect? What do you experience in your life as a consultant? How people work with these changing challenges with technology and in communications?
You mean at TESA or at my during? Yeah, okay.
You can go for both, but this is one of the surprise questions, such as Tom was looking for, that I do not do them, but they came simply the usage of Teams and all that, and people's behavior. Yeah.
Those questions surprise us, by the way, as well.
Okay,
not a problem. So the question was how we at TESA handled, let's say, the last couple of months, right? Okay. I cannot speak for all TESA employees. I mean, we have 5,000 employees, 52 in 52 countries. So I can't speak for all of them. I think in the beginning, we had a lot of effort, as all other companies, right? I'm working in the IT, and the first days, weeks, we were told, just forget about what maybe your position is, just forget about what your role is, just help others to be able to work. So that's what we did, and I think this was what we did in the first couple, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And of course, we all had 10, 12, 14 hours days. But I think it was the same for the rest of companies worldwide. So, but in general, and I can't tell much about how's the EBIT and how are the figures. I can tell about this because I don't know. But what I see is that we very fast got used to Teams, for example, that we very fast got used to, it's the same I do right now, introduce or show my home to my colleagues. I never did before. I never had colleagues in my home.
Okay.
So, and we all got used to it. And of course, you sometimes have colleagues where you don't start the camera. I think it's also the same as for all other companies. So I think we had a tough time, but maybe not for me that much as, for example, for the salespersons. I imagine it must have been terrible for them. I wasn't able to speak with them, but not being a person who likes to communicate, to interact with customers, and not being able to do anymore, and to not know for how many months. I recognize that this was terrible for some of them, but what I recognize at TESA, it was even more terrible for our Chinese colleagues, and because they were hit by it earliest. They had no chance. I think we here in Germany, or maybe other countries, maybe in the United States, I don't know, we recognize that it's happening over there. We didn't really thought, okay, this will be here in 1 or 2 weeks, but at least we had the chance to adapt some things, to hear some things, to get somehow familiar with the station, how it could be. And but for them, no chance. And what we did at Tesa, for example, our CEO just wrote motivational stuff in the internet and to motivate them, which I think was very necessary, because after a while they got bored out. I mean, you can't do anything, and I think it was terrible for them. But overall, I think we did a good job.
What technological changes or improvements did you see in your various assignments as a reaction of or to this COVID crisis?
What I see
as the technological reactions, or in terms of implementation of technology. So you mentioned Teams. Has there been anything else, or did you use Teams before?
We didn't use Teams before. I think it got popular during that time. I don't remember precisely, but I think it got popular. It just came in the right moment, at least from what I recognize. So mainly Teams, and of course, over the whole company, some other tools which I don't know, but mainly Teams. And I must admit that I was somehow surprised how good everything worked together, because we used the same tools more or less. Just added Teams, and it worked out for us. And I was a little bit surprised by this. I just thought it will be, I don't know, it will be worse. I don't know, will not work. But just adding Teams, and it worked for Tesa, in my what I see.
So that has been the more or less only impact on your work life, besides it's from a nicer place now working, I mean, that you're using Teams, or have there been other impacts?
Yeah, I must admit, I definitely have more working hours. I don't know how it is for you, but where before I had, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 hours a day. Today I have easily 10, 11 hours. I'm not allowed to do more than 10 hours because of German law. But there is, I think it switched, the time switched. They are now not now in the company from, I don't know, 9 to 5. Same for me, because I have to bring my child to the kindergarten and stuff like this. And I'm more flexible now, but this means my colleagues are flexible as well right now. So they, even right now, I just stopped everything here, that I'm not available, but I'm pretty sure if I would not have done this, they try to get in contact with me. And yeah.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, I think we are more flexible right now, but you should be, as a person, very organized to not get lost in work.
It's self-organization, I observe, and it is the capability of keep a straight path, which is clearly also showing your Chinese walls, even if it's invisible, about your spare time, private life, and your business life, which is getting a bit lost in these days, such as you mentioned, that people would try to call you in unusual times. I just had a call with one of my colleagues in Business Application Research Center that for a due diligence case, he had the first time that in the middle of the night, somebody called him from the US, naturally not realizing that he was calling somebody in Germany in the middle of the night. Yeah. But he said the time shift and the working together far from borders had become a new aspect. And this is also very consuming. And looking always into that camera, not doing a walk, not having a coffee at your small kitchen in the office, is, that was the buzzword for him, to catch another coffee, just around the corner, not from the kitchen, but from the coffee machine. But if the coffee machine is only push of a button of your finger length away, that has some convenience, but it has also the lost component of the intercommunication, such as the so-called cup of coffee with the colleagues or the Feierabendbier, the after work beer has been done remotely. Yeah,
Lucas
virtually.
Korn is another famous one.
Conversations, as we sometimes call them.
Based upon what you said a little earlier, Lars, so that it's mainly about people. So let's check a little into your check is good. Into your own business, your publishing house. I mean, it's all about relations, right? You have authors, you have readers, which are, well, you're writing yourself, so you have readers. Then your main customers are the matchmakers, the middlemen, and the libraries and the likes. So how do you manage that? Do you have a system in place? And if so, what type of system?
Yeah, I don't have a CRM system, which is a little bit astonishing, of course, because
It is, yeah, definitely.
CRM publishing house, and I don't use a CRM system, and it's a little bit astonishing because I'm pretty confident how to choose the correct system for myself. I published a book about it. I don't know all the details, and maybe it's interesting to explain why I don't have a CRM solution for my own company.
Yeah.
What I did is, and I suggest this also in the book, to of course have a company strategy, to have a customer strategy, to have an IT strategy, to combine all this. But despite that, and very important, to define the business processes. And according to those business processes, you need to choose your CRM software solution, at least from my perspective. And I did all this. I just wrote down the process. I make draft sketches, skizzen. And while analyzing them, I just asked myself, what is important for me? And it's also only a small company. I decided in the beginning not to have employees. I just doing all contract based because I would like to have this. A colleague, a friend of mine always tells this Grundrauschen, to have a solid income until you decide to have employees, because I feel responsible for them. So I decided against this and only have contractors. And then I analyzed all the processes, and I just thought by myself, what is important for me? And important for me was priority number one, to be able to work mobile, to have mobile access to all my data, to always be able to work. And the more and more I got into this idea, I just recognized, or I just thought by myself, is it possible to work only mobile, to do my business not on a standard PC, on a tower PC, just do everything mobile? And I just got fixed by the idea, and then I just tried it out. And today I have only two things I work with for my company and do everything with them. And the two things I have is I do everything with my mobile, everything. I write bills, I note down everything. There isn't anything I don't do with my mobile. And the only thing I, despite that need, I have it behind here, is my printer. And even this one is so tiny, I can take it with me if I would like to. So these are the two things I need to print bills and to do all the rest. So, and this brought me in the situation that, at least for the status I have right now, that I don't need a CRM solution, because this would be like, maybe to give a metaphor, maybe currently I only need a German word is paddleboat, something, a tiny little boat, and I don't need the big cruiser Kreuzfahrtschiff. And we all know CRM software solutions. They are a suite. They are hosted on platforms. They are so big, and if I would decide right now for a solution, it would be a tiny little one. So, but right now I don't need it. I just need my mobile, and I'm able to do anything. But I'm pretty clear about this. This is not a perfect tool to handle customer relationships, because the rest is here in my head. And I think it's the same for all companies. When you're a startup, you start with Excel. It's for all the same, and you need to be very, you need to be aware when this point arrives in time that you need to now switch from Excel to a professional CRM solution. And maybe most of the companies forget this, or I don't know, get lost in the Excel sheets. I don't know. Hopefully I will not. But right now, I decided against it because it's fine for me having my mobile, having this. I don't have any additional cost for it. It works for my contract-based partners. So,
what do you think is the inflection point when it needs a system?
good question. It should not be the point where the first customers jump off. This would be too late, definitely. Good question. I never thought about it. I just thought by myself, okay, maybe in future the processes will be too complex, and of course I have some processes I'm not be able to do with my mobile already right now. I think there is no point for all companies. It's an equal point, and I think for other companies bigger than mine, there should be a precise point, but I can't name it. I for myself decided to hear on my stomach. But this is not a good. It's maybe a good decision maker, but not the best. So I never asked this myself. I have no answer for this.
Fair enough. Same here. We are in the same situation, the three of us here. We are using Google Sheets and not Excel. Anyways, regarding basically CRM, where does it start and where does it end? So there is this more or less putting an answer into your mouth now, but there is this probably artificial boundary between front office and back office. Is it artificial or is it not? So is it basically all CRM/CX, or where are we at there? What's your opinion there?
What do you mean, for my company or in general? No.
Both. Take your pick.
Okay. The question was, is CRM artificial and is CX the new one? And maybe
no. The question is there a boundary between front and back office? Or does it need to be there? It's probably the better question. You have front office processes that are usually put into a CRM system. Then you have back office processes that are usually in some type of ERP system. But at the end of the day, in order to maintain a good working relationship or provide a good engagement, I don't say experience, an engagement, it needs both. So that raises the question whether they are both part of the same. And this then in turn raises the question whether this boundary between an ERP system and a CRM system is artificial.
It's a big question.
Oh, well, we are big people.
Hard to answer. I mean, we have, when I look at the Microsoft environment, we have a Navision system, a formal Navision, being right in the middle of former Acceptor and CRM. So, but at least from my experience, it helped customers in the beginning, or it helped companies in the beginning, but never really solved their problems. After a while, they needed to decide for an ERP system and a CRM system, and having both as well. My company is not big enough to answer this question. Lucky me.
Okay.
But I must admit, I mean, I worked for a lot of companies as a consultant before joining Tesa, and at the end, I must say they were all not always happy with what they had. So if it's ERP and CRM, they get lost in interfaces. If it's Navision, they miss some CRM components. So you never will have the perfect solution, and whatever you decide about, or whatever your decision is, you will have something which you struggle with. So at least I cannot answer this question. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe there is no perfect answer. Well,
could be.
Maybe
out of your own experience, because Tom also offered you that point of view as well, that you said what I find interesting, that for instance, all the accounting you do for your own company, you then do with your smartphone. And this is not GODB konform. And Grundsätze ordnungsgemäßer Speicherdatenführung.
Okay.
Aha. And this would need some, well, my hobby is GDPR regularly, but I'm flexible. No, this is a perspective which, not finger pointing, simply reflecting on the potential some software tools do have, which are following these accounting rules properly, or whatever tool you use to operate them, as they are browser-based, yeah. But there I see a point where there is a need, or probably sometimes comfort for invoicing if you don't do it with an office tool. You would preferably utilize something else than your smartphone, a mobile laptop, something.
Yeah, well, the point is, it's not about the device, right? It's about what I use on this device, and there is no software I cannot use on this device. So I'm GDPR conform. I need to assure this because I have a tax office and they control.
Yeah, genau. All these, the auditors are running around.
The only thing, and this was what I mean, I don't need a big screen. I don't need a desktop tower on my place.
Okay.
I can access everything via my mobile and do it while being on the road.
Yeah.
Sitting in a train. So I'm conformed with everything. I just decided not to buy a lot of hardware, for example, and not use the CRM tool because I can access everything via my mobile.
Yeah.
And be conform.
Such as I utilize a tool from a very famous German company for small enterprises to do my minimal, let's say, needed stuff, which is called Easy Office. Then a comparable product is My Bureau from the strongest competitor, and they deliver all what you need as an independent entrepreneur. But being specialized on publishing, I was wondering if there would be on some of these days when you say, sending an offer, making a contract would have been a bit easier if I could have used something a bit more fancy, which is more to my regular work. Or do you use templates you have developed for yourself or which you have found somewhere?
Yeah, I created, for everything I created templates. You can't imagine how many templates I have. I mean, it's only 95% you can use templates for anything. But not to forget, what I described was that I analyzed my process and decided not to use a CRM, professional CRM system software, but to use everything I could use on my mobile. Of course, right now I'm having a laptop in front of me. I always have the possibility to use it, so it's not that I got rid of all of my PCs and laptops.
No.
So of course, sometimes it's, for example, I mean, we all know when we like to analyze a dashboard and all the figures come in. Of course, I would not like to sit like this. So of course, I like a big screen.
No, Lars, it is that I admire the German word is Stringenz, that you are so focused on mobile first. You really love it, and you live it, and you make it work. And this is something. If you have one of the presentations from Mark Benioff when he is running around as evangelist for his company and doing the missionary job. He is always showing his iPhone because he prefers an iPhone and is telling, I steer my complete organization with this phone and the tools from Salesforce. Ta-da! Only the gunpowder shots and the fireworks are missing when he makes regularly on his circus approaches, and when he's giving his speeches, which is only missing. Yeah, but this is something. If this is really working out, this is fantastic. Yeah, and you have a smart choice of tools which work on the hardware components you love to utilize. Yeah, and that is somehow very clever. Yeah, and if the processes are so clean and so smart designed that you do not need anything else, this is where your consultancy expertise moves in. Yeah, such as I could help myself to get lean organized. Yeah. Sometimes our customers love to be like this. Yeah, lean, clean, neat, proper setup, compliant with what is needed, and paying the Caesar what is to the Caesar. Yeah? To go with the Holy Bible. Gib dem Kaiser, was des Kaisers ist.
Yeah.
There's
Fascinating.
yeah. One thing I'm a little curious about. You do all of your work on your phone, as you say, or on your printer. At least you can. How do you handle that when it comes to writing? I know that I'm primarily a writer, and I find having a keyboard, an actual keyboard that I can touch, to be very comforting. Once upon a time, many years ago, I had a BlackBerry with a keyboard on it, so I would write just with my thumbs. I actually managed to cover some conferences that way, but it wasn't my preferred method. So how do you handle the sort of tasks that you would normally want to do with a larger computer?
Yeah, the way I organize myself is most of the things I do via phone. I just call and try to reach people and discuss it via phone. And then, of course, I have this things where I need to write an email or, write books. I can't write books on mobile. This will not work. And I'm very organized here as well. What I do is one night every week, I just sit maybe here in this setup and work, I don't know, sometimes the whole night. And I put everything into one night and 1 week. I write it down, just put a short notice here, what I would like to do, just a short comment. And I write all my emails, all the book stuff I would like to write in one night. And of course, for this, I need a keyboard, I need a bigger screen, of course. But I put it all in one night. This is not good for resting and for sleeping, but it works.
That's good discipline. It separates your different types of work. I like it.
Maybe here comes. I was a soldier for 4 years, and maybe this helps me right now. I'm very organized. I have much discipline here.
I can imagine that you still know how to properly set up a small cupboard with all the things which have to fit in. Also typisches Spacken eines Spindes und minimalistisches und korrektes Bett beziehen. But there is that very, very, very important speech. Yeah, well, Lars, just joking around because I don't know if it's such as in the military drill, but there is that naval officer which has given this motivation speech. If you are in military and you have your routines, and it is about the routines. If you follow your routines and you have your specific attitude, how it works for you, then it is fantastic. Yeah, and this is especially in these times. It is very much if you have your rituals, your routines, and your methods to overcome challenges. Yeah.
And otherwise, I think it would not be possible to. I don't know if it's correct when I say to make a dream come true, but I remember very precisely what I thought when I started with my first book, because I had a plan, I had some kind of vision,
Yeah.
and I'm working on this constantly. And what motivates me to be so precise, it's just that I see that it works. You can have something like you focus on, and when you're very addicted to it, it feels easy. It's not that I need to, okay, now you need to sit this night and you just, it must come with passion, then it's easy. And maybe I'm a disciplined person as well. Maybe this helps me, I don't know. But there must be also passion in it. And you need to see the results, and it's easy, I think.
Seeing the results is exactly my buzzword. As yesterday when we had that prep call, I encouraged you to show us the book covers from your already written books and give us a little hint on what topics and what you publish in your publishing company. And this is a bit like the opportunity for doing a bit advertising for what you publish and write.
Yeah, the terrible thing is I need to start with my first book, and it always feels a little bit terrible, and I tell you why. When you see the first book, I don't know, I need to translate it for you, Marshall. CRM. Can you read it?
CRM in practice.
Yeah, in practice. And some terms, patterns,
Basics.
stuff like this, basics. Yeah. And
Procedures, yeah.
yeah, and in Germany we have a saying. I don't know if I'm able to translate this correctly. We say in German we say, das erste Haus baut man für seinen Feind, das zweite für seinen Freund und das dritte Haus baut man für sich. So I try to translate this. The saying is, the first house you build for your enemy, the second house you build for your friend, and the third house you build for your own. I mean, I think it comes easy. It explains that the first one is you feel terrible about it. I mean, the first house you would like to have your enemy in it, and it's the same with this book. Whenever I open it and whenever I read it, because I'm writing all the books also for me, because this is how I work. I mean, it's now 5 years since I wrote this book, and I very often think you need to correct this, and you need to correct this, and you need to be more precise on this. And this was what I thought after publishing this book. But I must admit, I have this for every book I publish. And it doesn't matter if it took me 2 years to write it or 2 years to collect all the writings from the contractors I have. Every time I think, no, you need to do better. No, this is not enough research. No, you need to be more precise. But on the other side, I see that people buy it. I mean, I'm somehow successful, but I don't get this together. I would be more precise. It needs to be better, but the customers are buying it. So it's very funny. And what I recognized, I just put them out of the shelf today to present them. And then I recognized, this is very funny, that my books are getting thicker and thicker. This was the first book. Second book got thicker. Then it got even more.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know for what reason.
So the enemy got only a little of your knowledge. Your friend got some more. And for yourself to follow the alliteration, you really digged in. And now you are with book number 4 or 5.
No, this is now, I just put out some of them. This was book number 8. And it appeared for me, or what I recognize this is
digitalizing the customer relationship.
Yeah. And I mean, my feeling is CRM is endless. You could write, I don't know, decades about it. But what I recognize is on the market, at least this was what I saw and what I found out via researches. Lots of people are still interested in CRM and, of course, customer experience. But they need to bring digitalization, digital transformation together with customer experience. And this is strongly requested. And my feeling currently is, and I think this will be the next steps. It's not happening right now, but my feeling or what I see is this will happen in the next couple of months, or maybe in the beginning of next year. more and more people asking themselves, coming from COVID, how to create a digital pedestrian area. Fußgängerzone is the German word. So
digitalized, such as a digital window, also ein digitales Schaufenster, where you do the shopping in a digitalized way.
Yeah, but I mean, I said pedestrian area or Fußgängerzone because what I recognize is it appeared with COVID and appeared with all the platform economy stuff like this, that we really do have no feeling anymore for our customers. What you described is the Tante Emma. And what they are asking right now, and I think this book here, Digitalization of CRM, was just a step in between, and I'm writing on the next book, because I think the next step will be how we bring, I don't know what the English translation would be. In German, I would say Städte der Begegnung. How we are able to replace the markets we once had, because all cities are built around markets, and we don't have it anymore. I mean, you see it with COVID.
We need touch points of communication where we really have getting people together and have the touch and feel, at least if we not hug everybody, but that we see the facial, Tom, very important aspect. Socializing.
It should be more than only.
I'm sorry.
No. Continue. But
the way that cities were built around where you could walk to, and now any city is built around where you can drive to. That changed the way we interact.
And what we had in the old days was a so-called, when Saturday and Sunday was naturally closed, we did window shopping, such as we went into the pedestrian area and looked for a new nice trouser, or my girlfriend looked for a skirt or a shirt or something like that, and we got some impressions. Or when I was younger, I was always putting the nose on the windows for some models from Airfix or Revell, where I could build some of this airplanes, warships, and God knows what military stuff, which I did in these the cast plastic models to, let's say, create my fantasy world in playing unharmed war games, or with my dioramas, when I painted the little soldiers and put them in certain positions, like old guys did this with their tin soldiers. The aspect I was looking for is, I'm still missing some of your books. You haven't showed us. You showed us the last one, and you showed us number 1, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do not know the titles yet.
Yeah, I think about this one we already spoke. It's how to
evaluation.
Evaluation
of CRM software.
This is, I need to say, this is my favorite book. I don't know for what reason, but this is really I love this book. I don't know for what reason. I love all my books, but this is the book I love most. And I wrote one book. This is I think this was together with some contractors.
Implementation of CRM processes.
Successful one.
Successful. Naturally, sir. Naturally.
That would help.
Yeah.
It helps.
And and you see, and they all have the same format, right?
Yeah. So, what is the bundle price?
I don't have a bundle price. I take the whole.
Why? This is your opportunity to get rid of your stock.
No, you're right. I didn't saw, but I think there is a bundle price on the shop. You should visit the shop. There's the
It's klar. Now I'm here in the opportunity person-to-person negotiation, and you send me to your e-shop. Thank you very much.
Do you have some pricing optimization behind it?
There are the highest margin.
But coming back to one of your books.
Enough that it is not unpolite, it's simply using the opportunity of the situation. This was just like a so-called Steilvorlage. Sorry.
Coming back to the title of your number 8, book number 8, and what you said about the marketplaces and pedestrian zones. So that asks for the question, where do you see the technological development going on to model these kinds of social situations where a marketplace is a social gathering place? Basically, it's as much a place for communication, for community, as well as for making purchases. And this is disrupted by us not going out, but buying on technical marketplaces, call them Amazon or call them however, So this, in the US, this would be the kind of the concept of a shopping mall. How do you think, and do you think whether this moves at all into that direction electronically? How could that go? Might be an answer for a question from Marshall as well.
It might be, but I'm not the guest.
We'll write a book on it, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking quite a lot of things, and this will be maybe not the next, but the one afterwards. I just started thinking about it, but the point here is, I think what we do most is, and we're pretty confident about it. We quite often speak about technology, and we often speak about economy, and when we speak about technology, the four of us and all the other people, it seems we all understand what we are talking about, but do we really know how this microphone here works? I don't know.
So I don't care actually.
As long as it does work. When I say I speak in this microphone and I hope there is no interruption and you can hear me, of course we understand each other. And what makes me wonder is where we coming naturally from is society. We in the past we never spoke about technology, economy. That's why I meant this. We're coming from the marketplaces where cities and or cities in general build around marketplaces, and what happened there was exchange, social gathering, to exchange meanings, to learn from each other. And nowadays we only speak about technology and we speak about economy. And I think what will happen in future, and I think what will happen in the near future, is that we need to put society and technology. And for example, right now, I think you mentioned Amazon. What we have there is we have 5-star ratings for products where you can write an email and you get an answer. But is this some kind of real exchange? No, it's not. And I think lots of companies, and this is what I'm currently thinking about, is there will be companies that can do better than 5-star ratings and just writing a message to the product owner, WhatsApp list, to the product owner. What I mean is that you have a real connection to the product owner, that you can ask him questions. For example, what do you mean by this chapter? What are you describing? Is it really what I'm focusing on? Because when you have a book, you can read the agenda of the book, but you never know what you will get. So get in contact with the author would be a complete change, but we don't have this. We don't have this at Amazon. I never saw Paul like this. So, and my feeling is that a lot of companies will change or will try to put society into technology. I hope you know what I mean. I hope I was able to explain it a little bit. This is what we called in the past Tante Emma. We need to put Tante Emma in Amazon, if I should use a metaphor for it. And I think this will be the next thing. And I think, for example, customer experience can help us with this, maybe better than CRM. This is just a rough idea of what I'm currently thinking about.
Marketing consultancy coming up. such as, no, you do not have a bundle offering, unfortunately, and which is to your advantage, and which is very interesting, Marshall. If you need some proper in British English written books on Microsoft Dynamics CRM, you will find in the CRM Verlag the books of your trust, from the author of your trust as well, such as CRM for Beginners on the Dynamics CRM arena, and for experienced users as well, and the playbook, which is coming up on the 16th. So we saw there early
version. It's supposed to work. This is social CRM at its best.
Yeah. No, after 10 years, it's starting to work.
I absolutely agree with what you're saying about putting society and personal interaction back into the technology. Everything that we've built in terms of e-commerce, if we still use that term, it's transactional. It's about looking at something and buying it and saying whether we liked it or not. Yeah. There is nothing personal there unless it's in comments made between someone who owns, two people who may own the same product, or someone who's interested in it and someone who already does. And I'm sure that we have all been in the comments section of product reviews or of videos on YouTube, and we know how unpleasant that part can be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, putting people back in it, at the mom and pop, Tante Emma, having that sort of interaction, that's the real hurdle. That's what I would love to see conquered, solved. I don't know if there can be one solution. I think that just having this conversation is a long way towards that solution, that we need to keep it in mind.
The emotionalization of a stupid e-commerce shop would be the aim to work on, such as that we have not only the stupid recommendation engine or somehow pop-up avatar, which is giving us some advice, but what I dreamed of was that with the mobile devices we do have, with near-field communication, and on that we give the permission that we share a lot of data with these organizations where we still have a shopping experience. We move in and we get treated as we are well-known customer, long-term relationship with the mom and pop store with Tante Emma, and that I do not get only guided reading or serviced reading out of a package from, let's say, my next headphone, and the employee from the shop is only able to read me the package. I'm capable to do that, but he has no valuable recommendations for me, such as let's compare it with 3 other headphones I have here in the shop. And we then do, like in the old days when I went for my spare time, hours and hours and hours to hi-fi shops and just utilized the opportunity to listen to Jacqueline Float or something extraordinary I will never ever be able to buy, but those are my dream toys. Yeah, those are my dreams, like my Mark Levinson amplifier and all that, and a modified Studer Revox recording machine. Yeah, or what I still have on my Dachboden. Yeah, on my Speicher. I don't know what it's properly. Tom, you might help me. Yeah, I do have my old hi-fi equipment, which is no longer in use, if it's Akai or Nakamichi, I was still the crazy guy who was looking simply for the best. Yeah, not only playing Tina Turner or playing the best is simply good enough. Yeah, so long time saving money to buy that product. Yeah, my wife is getting still today nearly crazy on that. I have sometimes this attitude where is following clearly the advice of John Ruskin, better buy not too cheap than to buy twice. Which comes to the point. What about the bundle?
Maybe I should do some extra hours after this interview too.
It's just my friendly, let's be a bit stubborn on that one. But this is honestly that you do have an offering which is exceptional, Lars. And if we have that advantage to all of us, such as if we want to publish in the next period our books in your publishing house instead of with Wiley or with some American publisher, yeah, or that we publish in the US and in Germany, yeah, such as the German book we publish at CRM Verlag and the American version from the gents over there, yeah. As Uncle Tom moved his house, yeah, Uncle Tom's Hütte is now in Seattle.
Definitely, you are more than welcome, and I will create the bundles as soon as possible.
Well, it's easy. What I just looked to is such as do some German-speaking bundles, some English versions, which is nicely. And it's the opportunity in bundling them for an advantage which is not to your disadvantage. Yeah. The book is costing around about 40 euros. Then if you sell 5, you really have no harm in giving a extraordinary sexy discount, because then you know that people do not only have your mindset at their hand, but they know if they have the same experience like you have it with your favorite book, that it delivers more than just a value to you, but also to your reader. And that this is the entering point when they ask you for your consultancy and your expertise as a CRM expert. In the old days, Tom Siebel wrote the books, or let the books been written only as marketing instrument, recalling that. And when I was hired by Team Brendel, one of the tasks the gentleman Michael Brendel said, Ralf, one of your tasks is writing a book for me with my name on it. CRM for mid-market. I did it.
Okay.
Gentlemen, it's the usual 15 minutes after the usual closing time, and this was very inspiring. So what about a round of seeing into fantasy? If you would be Caesar of Germany, as we have had elections just in the US, you two get the opportunity to be president of the United States, what would be the 3 things you would like to do? I would like to start with our guest, Lars. 3 wishes as Caesar of Germany. Chancellor is not enough.
I've got 3 wishes.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I think to be honest, in school we do not. I mean, it's a lot of people think so. In school we do not learn things we need for life. Maybe to teach children or to allow them to get some insights how to run a business, because I'm pretty sure they will learn more from this than I don't think doing sentence of Pythagoras, stuff like this. So this would be definitely my number one wish, to prepare children better for life. And I think starting the own business is definitely something you could do in life, if you like.
Yeah.
Just would be something. I don't know, point number 2 and 3, but this would be my point number 1. Yeah.
I think we need to restore international relations, seeing as they've been pretty well ruined over the past 4 years. I would like us to be respected again. Or we need to earn that respect back. So that would be one of my goals.
Okay.
I absolutely believe that Lars is right. A practical education is at least as important as understanding how to parse a sentence for grammar. I can't believe I just said that. I'm a writer. I make my living off of grammar. I must be drunk or something. Number 3, you know what? We've each had one. Thomas, you go.
Lucky you, the truck just moved away, so I can unmute myself. So my wish actually is, or my wish, what I'd look for is actually getting that what those CRM pundits and vendors are talking about, that the customer is in control, actually happens. Because customer is not in control. Not. Technology helps to avoid that. That's the first 3 of them, actually.
Yeah, like our Swiss colleague friendly said, the customer has now the gun. And one should be aware that he put it in the way, das Reh hat das Gewehr. And it might shoot back to the hunter. Yeah. And the deer, Marshall, the deer has the gun and it might shoot back. Yeah. What I would like to express as a wish, one of the 3 wishes, is that I join in the education part, because our education in both of these fantastic countries, the 2 of you are living and the 2 of us are living in, is not spending enough into the future of those which are growing up. We do not have a proper digitalized way of doing education. We are in a very lousy state to do so. I hope that in the US this is a bit better, but I honestly do not know. But I trust that in some of the schools it's more or less standardized. Yeah. Whereas I have the impression that they stole the equipment here from some museum of historical art or technology. My saying is that somewhere the Zuse Z1 has been stolen and installed in some school. Zuse Z1 is from 1936. Yeah, if it's such modern, and it's not working. A second wish is that I would like to see the so-called standardized guaranteed income, such as that you help people to develop in a way that has nothing to do with socialistic ideas, but simply to gain more out of the creativity of people if they do not worry about their daily living. If they can develop what they would like to develop and do not have to fight for the fantastic Grundrauschen, what you mentioned, Lars, it's exactly what we as independent analysts do have as challenge. If we can pay the rent, we can pay the food, we have enough clothing for the kids, then we can start going forward to something decent. And this is a struggle I would like to see that it's, let's say, eased. Yeah, that it's the way the path is eased. And I love, as I'm a very communicative guy, which the regular listeners of 20-second CM conversations might guess, that the opportunity we do now have to get into new terms in having fantastic relationships again after 4 years of what in the old days would be an ice time, yeah, or back to frozen areas. I'd love to see that when the to-be elected president and his vice president visit Berlin, that they have a really warm welcome, which in the old days might have had John F. Kennedy and other, from me, highly respected people, which I really, really like and honestly love. And I'd love to hear again the speech of Bob der Baumeister, yes, we can. Yeah, this is the attitude where I had today a very interesting LinkedIn comment. The possibilitarian is the new visionary guideline, such as let's make it happen, let's make it possible. The possibilitarian and the possibilitarianism. Yeah? Nichts ist unmöglich. Something like that. That is something which gave me today a real kick. That made my day. Yeah. And this was a quote of a lady which was very pleased about one of our former guests, the CEO of Sugar CRM, which was encouraging and was pinpointing on their fantastic new website they created as a partner of Sugar CRM, and they liked it so much, and everybody was really, really grateful, because it does not happen regularly that a CEO is mentioning your website and that you do a cool job. Yeah, and this is something spectacular. Huh?
Yep.
Gents, it was fun. I enjoyed it very much. Very inspiring.
Me too.
Always a pleasure.
So, the feedback comes now. We end the broadcast. Ladies and Gentlemen, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, seien Sie uns gewogen. Man hört, sieht und streamt sich auch am nächsten Dienstag mit einem Special Guest von der Firma Freshworks. Seien Sie gespannt, bleiben Sie gespannt, bleiben Sie uns gewogen. Und tschüss.